saying on this channel, if you're a regular watcher, you'll know for the best part of 3 weeks that if Julen Lopetegui lost against Newcastle, which is November 25th, and then Arsenal, which is the game at London Stadium afterwards, then he'd lose his job in the event that we didn't win against Everton, which, of course, we didn't. Now, it wasn't that there was any sort of ITK insider information on that. Far from it. It just was bloody obvious. You could see that things were different this time. This whole usual thing of David Sullivan giving somebody 3 games and then there being a reset, it's not the same anymore. David Sullivan doesn't solely make the decision on the big decisions at West Ham. And we can see that because we know that Daniel Kretinsky played a big part in Tim Steidten coming in. So I was always of the opinion that Lopetegui was going to be Sullivan's last pick that he could solely make on his own. It's failed. And look, I'm speaking now as if we are going to lose to Newcastle, which I think we will, and lose to Arsenal, which I think we will. If he somehow wins those games, then it's all reset and it's all changed. But if that happens, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I'm not saying we're not going to beat the Dog and Duck and Accrington Stanley. I'm saying West Ham, as crap as we are this season, are probably not capable of going to St James's Park and winning and beating Arsenal. I think that's fair enough to suggest that, right? If that happens and Lopetegui gets the sack, it's been a failure. Whoever at that club, and even if it was Sullivan or anyone else, basically whoever decided that we weren't going to get, I don't know, whatever, XYZ manager, we say Ruben Amorim. I think it's a good example because he came and had an interview with us, and then we chose Lopetegui instead. Then it shows that that's a horrendous decision. That was bad, really, really bad. Which I've got to say has me worried for the next bit of decision-making, whoever comes in as next manager at the club. But I did think that was Sullivan's last punt at doing it on his own. I do think Kretinsky has probably got involved now. How involved Steidten is, I just don't know. That's the truth of the matter. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about it again today is just because Jacob Steinberg, a Guardian journalist, West Ham fan, excellent links at the club, has basically said yesterday that Newcastle and Arsenal are basically going to be the crunch games. If Lopetegui loses them, he's going to get the sack. Now, I think the difference what Jacob is saying and what I was saying, mine was a suspicion. I think he's probably reporting it as fact. He'll have been told it by someone at the London Stadium. How do we deal with that? Well, there was more information that he did give, and that was that the front runners, firstly, there were some permanent managers who could get the job, or West Ham hadn't ruled out that there could be a short-term solution, a caretaker manager, whatever it may be. So basically, we're looking at Edin Terzic. We've discussed him on numerous occasions on this channel. I'm not going to go and repeat myself on there now. I wouldn't be my preferred choice for reasons that I've got into. Just go back, and if you don't know, go back and search on this video. You'll see lots of fallings out with people at Dortmund. The fans didn't like him. Boring football. Mats Hummels led a revolt. He couldn't get on with Nicholas Füllkrug. Not that matters, because I don't think Füllkrug will be here next season. Anyway, it was a no from me. Then we have Kasper. I've got to say this right. Kasper Højmund, who is the Danish manager. I think again that's no from me. Because he's not done an awful lot apart from, his work with Denmark. I can't see anything particularly outstanding from him there. I think, did he manage a Nordsjælland? I think possibly, maybe 2 or 3 times. There ain't a lot there, truth be known. Roger Schmidt, he's okay. I mean, he did okay at Benfica, but put his record at Benfica, which is a bigger club with more transfer kitty, just more resources behind him. He did nowhere near as well as Ruben Amorim did at Sporting Lisbon, who are a smaller club. So, yeah, Roger Schmidt, not for me particularly. And the other one is Sebastian Hoeneß, which I think would probably be, out of that lot, would be my choice. I would take neither of them. Honestly, I would take Iraola from Bournemouth. If I could, I would also take Marco Silva. I think there are some obvious candidates, and yes, have either of those won anything? No, but we can see what they're doing in the Premier League now. We just don't know. I think there was a perception that bringing in Julen Lopetegui, there was a perception, I think possibly from David Sullivan, that wasn't, it was low risk. Well, it was. It turned out to be very, very risky. In the same way that I think possibly getting John Duran as striker was viewed as a risk. I'm not blaming Sullivan for this. I think, possibly this one's on Stuyton. That getting John Duran was the risk, and that the safe option was getting Nicholas Füllkrug. But actually, it turned out that Nicholas Füllkrug was the risk. So I don't think we're great as a football club at assessing what's safe and what's a risk. I think I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong. I think Kasper Heumans. I probably got that terribly wrong. I do apologise, Kasper. Oh, hold on. We got an interruption. Excuse me. Come here. What are you doing? There we go. He's been very good. Very, very good. Yes, he's nice. Right. Yeah, there he is. He's been very good, but I think he's getting a little bit bored now. I thought we were going to get a whole video without being interrupted, but possibly not. He's got a ball. He's got a stick. He's got some cardboard to chew on. He likes chewing on cardboard for some reason. Let's see if we can get the rest of this video out without him rudely interrupting us all. And I think none of these are my choice. But as I say, I'll go with Honus out of all of them. Just looking at the game against Newcastle, how are we possibly meant to go into that with any confidence as fans, thinking, do you know what, he'll get this and he'll beat Eddie Howe's Newcastle? We've got loads and loads of players coming back, by the way. We'll deal with that. After this video, I'm about to record the preview with Gio, actually, so we'll talk about that in more depth there. And then Arsenal, come on. I mean, they pulled our pants down and dumped us last season. And believe it or not, last season we were awful. We were awful last season. There's no doubt about it. And I don't mean that to demean David Moyes. David Moyes was brilliant. Particularly during COVID. Obviously, took us to, and I actually think the season that we lost to Frankfurt, I thought we were absolutely brilliant as well. Obviously, got us a Conference League win, but let's not pretend last season under David Moyes was good. It wasn't. It was poor, right? Lopetegui's worse. Lopetegui is worse than David Moyes at his poorest. That ain't good. That ain't good at all. So it's hard to have any confidence and think that this guy is going to come in, he's going to beat Newcastle, he's going to beat Arsenal. What new tactics, what new innovative measures is he going to impart on the players that makes him win those two games? I don't think there are any. I've always hated this lost the dressing room. Lost the dressing room, I think, sort of indicates that everyone is not pulling for the manager, does not want him to succeed. I'm not sure that's the case. I just think they don't understand his tactics. They don't understand what he wants them to do. I'm not sure that constitutes losing the dressing room, but you don't have to lose the dressing room. You just have to lack the ability to impart your tactics on the team and your vision and get players playing for you, not because they've got a bad attitude, not because they don't want to, not because they don't want West Ham to win. They all want their bloody win bonuses and stuff like that. They just don't believe in the tactics, or worse, understand them. So I find it very, very hard to find a situation whereby he wins, particularly both these two games. Now, I'm not sure if he has to win both of them. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. It's hard to say. But I do believe that, yeah, maybe if he beats Newcastle, he can probably lose to Arsenal. Lose both of them, then he's bang in trouble. But the list that's been provided, I mean, it does seem a little bit like more of the same. It really does. What I would say is I do think, looking at some of this, they're probably going to be a situation where Stuyton has had some involvement in this recruitment process. And I guess, why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he? Because anyone at the club is just going to be looking at Sullivan thinking, you've done such a bad job with Lopetegui. Because there is a board, so any decision at West Ham that's over, that basically is going to cost more than £1 million, any decision there has got to be done at board level. And I think, understandably, a lot of the board would be, can you hear him? Do you know what he's doing? He's barking at a pile of leaves at the moment. So I think any decision that has got to be made at board level, I do believe, is anyone's going to look at that and think the manager situation and think, Sullivan, you can't do this on your own, mate. You've got it so far wrong. That being said, if this is the best list that they've come up with, then I don't like it. And the fact that neither... Look, I'm not a massive one for Thomas Frank anyway. I think he can play some boring football at times. But I would prefer him on there. The fact that Thomas Frank, that Marco Silva and Iraola are not on there, it speaks volumes for the lack of the lack of ambition, the lack of foresight. And even if it wasn't, get some young coaches in there who are winning things at different leagues or something like that. I just think it's pretty crap, really. It's really, really hard to have any sort of optimism about anything to do with West Ham at the moment. It really does. When the first team is being run this poorly, and then it looks like the way that we may be looking and assessing and identifying managers also being run just as poorly, it's very, very hard to have any optimism.